there we go, Maarten, Stefan. i-LAN is in the business of edge computing as a service. So edge computing is essentially a topology to support the trend to move data processing closer to the locations where data is gathered. So again, a data company. I'm so happy with you guys. So happy with you. All right. This is going to be difficult or easy for the jury?
We're going to try to make it easy.
That's a good part. I love that. I love easy companies. Good, good, good. Okay, so as we do with all startups, you're the last one.
Yeah.
So it'll be the best one, no? Yeah. The one to beat is 8 hands. That's the one to beat. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Okay. 10 minutes of presentation, and then we do 20 minutes of Q&A. Here we go. i-LAN.
Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. My name is Clement Maarten and Stefan Struiven. We are i-LAN. We present to you today the one box and the one cloud. We offer an edge compute solution as a service. What is edge compute? It's the management of IT, infrastructure, networking, firewalls, everything virtualized in the remote offices and in the branch offices. Why? What is the challenge of our main customers today? By a growing digitalization, we have a growing massive data volumes that come along. The data is collected in data centers, not only in Azure also, but also at the edge. This means is the RoboSites, there where the data is generated. By these legacy systems, quite some security issues pop up. Business continuity is very important because if it goes down, there is no revenue. And one of the main challenges is the support and maintenance. If you have thousands remote sites over the world and a server is crashing, you need to go there, push the button and come back. Basically, very expensive interventions. So what do our customers look for? It's business continuity. Cannot go down. If it goes down, there is business impact. Security and data protection, which is for obvious reasons very important. Easy and remote management. Why go to 100 to 200 kilometers drive just to push the button when you can actually log in and push that same button? And a small form factor. Why use huge systems or regular servers? Well, we can scale down and narrow the amount of compute to obtain cost efficiency. By that, we make also a huge cost reduction of the total price. Stefan, I leave the word now to you.
Thank you, Maarten. So why would we do that if we don't think there's a market? We think that there's a huge market, actually. What does it mean? If we only look at Belgium, we see 300 to 500 companies who have remote office, branch office needs. As an example, I think DEME, well known, can be taken as an example because they have, on various locations, a need for IT, and that's basically an example. Also, Gartner identified that there is a very big potential. Financially, they think there will be about $32 billion in this business every year. Many companies have already gone to the cloud, but they see quite a lot of shortcomings, as Maarten already explained. And because these shortcomings, they realize they have also now to rethink their architecture and move to the edge computing. So therefore, for us, edge is a massive growing business. And we, i-LAN, we target basically companies with about 20 and more remote office and branch office sites to manage and to secure. So if you are a customer, how do you think we would do that? We have, on one hand, the one cloud, which is a central component. On the other hand, in every remote office, a one box. If you do that, the one box is a highly resilient platform. You manage hardware, software, security, and network with it. Also, we provide support and maintain that infrastructure. And we are able to provide data analysis, management, data monitoring, and reporting. If you have implemented this, what can you expect from it? You can expect about 60% lower total cost of ownership. You can expect 97% less unplanned downtime. You can expect 90% reduction in workforce. You can achieve 90% on a security scoring test. And you can have 90% reduction in support and maintenance. Now, how do we want to do that? We want to do that on the basis of known technology. We have technology from Lenovo. We have technology from Scale, OpenStack, Fortinet, Splunk. We integrate these technologies into a solution, and we would like to work with partners who do basically the fronting with regards to these big companies who have needs in all these sites. We provide sales support, we provide training, and we provide third-level support. We, in this way, think we can deliver edge computing as a service. We also need some partners to materialize that. That's one of the reasons why we are here. Now I'll give it back to Martin.
Who is i-LAN? Basically, we started the concept and we developed the one box in 2017 for a major retailer. The project was that a success that we said, well, we're going to commercialize this. We teamed up with the people working around this project. We further developed the one box, and then we developed the one cloud, which is basically the central manager to deploy and manage everything around the world. We commercialized it, we found investment, we've invested into sales, and we've invested into development. Hence our new release of the version 3.0 of the One Cloud, One Box. 2022 will be for us a major year. We are looking for funding to really accelerate our growth. Therefore, we're looking for partners, team up with integrators, and for also to explore and attract much more customers. Who is i-LAN itself? Sorry. Yep. 3 directors, 4 shareholders, some private investors. We have 6 people working around the clock, and 4 external developers to really integrate these technologies into one solid monolith. This is a system where nobody can go in, can go out. Only we will decide who is accessing what, where, how, and when. The technologies we're using, it's flexible, but we make one monolith of that, something which is completely integrated and is out of the shell, a kind of iPhone-like. Our financials, imagine yourself managing 1,000 sites around the world. Just a server crashing, you need to go there on site, push it, and restart it. Well, we can offer a solution that will only cost 700 euros a site a month, which is the total cost for everything. For 4 years contract, and renewable after that, technology refresh and everything is in there, upgrades, everything is included. Included in this price is the hardware, the software, and the central management, support and services, trainings, assistance, third-level support. And we do also deliver consultants and consultancy to our customers, so they can further integrate all the data which is captured, and basically it's every single bit and byte we can capture. And we can integrate this in the customer's backend. Our financial prognosis is based on the stealth strategy we developed with Stefan. It's very traditional, and therefore, the first years we're looking for an investment. We're looking for 150K in January to start with. And in kind, we would love to partner up with Delaware because of the data and the processes where Delaware is specifying on. We are actually the whole surrounding shell to protect and to serve this data. Why are we looking for partnerships? It's really to accelerate the sales and professional services of our product. If there are some questions, we will be happy to explain everything more into detail after the presentation. And I leave it up to...
Okay. That was a good one. You have a solid plan. It's not a small plan, I would say. Nope. It's a strong plan. And I'm happy that wherever, let's say you might team up with Delaware, we might see each other. That's a good point. Okay, but it's not just about Delaware. You all also need someone else. And I'm curious, because you said in the beginning, I'd like to explain it in an easy way. Let's check if it was really easy. Please, members of the jury, questions for 20 minutes.
All right, let me start with the local jury members. Michel, I would guess you have some questions.
I will be brutal, but it's in a positive way. In a way, it's the best pitch I've heard and the worst. Let me explain why. I feel you probably have the most viable business amongst the 6 we've seen. But you have the less fundable. And the reason as a venture firm, because first I don't understand exactly what your product is. Do you compete against Dell, HP, Delaware? To me, it's not clear.
We use them.
Number 2, I don't understand what your IP is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, well, I could continue on. But at the same time, I understand that there is a market for services like that. There are partners to deliver this. There are companies who need this. I just missed the point of the funding pitch. But voila. I don't know if you need to answer this. It's just a comment.
Okay. Yes, well, it's true. Honestly, with the dry runs, we let out the technicity because it's way too much. We are really working on every level, hardware of the OZ layers, software, virtualization. We manage the networks, the security parts, the access to everything. The whole system, all the RoboSites are completely fully integrated and connected and secured into the central system, where all data will be processed and get back to this central system, where you can do the whole orchestration of your servers, of your applications, of a new topology. You just log in and you create a new environment. For example, in a retailer, you need a new application with hand scanners and a whole complex environment that takes normally 2 to 3 weeks to implement one store. Now you go to the central site, you make the configuration for all stores. In the nighttime, you say deploy, and all the stores around the world will be deployed, and the next day people can come in, take their hand scan, and everything will work. It's fully virtualized, it's fully encapsulated into an ecosystem where we direct and manage all the flows. There's only one door.
Maarten, may I also give another example? There are quite a lot of things in an IT infrastructure that you do not see unless they happen. And what we bring in with the technology is predictability. For instance, your hard disk will go down. We all know that will happen. But the question is, when will it happen? With artificial intelligence, which is behind these tools, we are able to predict that within 2 days, the chance that this will happen is very high.
Yeah.
And that is, when we say in the slide, 97% less unplanned downtime, that's because of this advanced technology that is being used. Yeah. I hope that explains a little bit more.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I ask a follow-up question? Because this product was developed with a large customer, right? With a large retailer, as you said, and deployed into the field, and then you decided to spin it out and start a company and commercialize it. Can you give us, just to get a feeling for the complexity of the architecture and what you put together, a rough estimate of how much development effort went into developing your solution?
3 to 4 years, really, with 2 of very good engineers that have an experience. I myself have 25 years of contracting experience in architecture of compute infrastructures. One of the examples is ViaPass, the toll charging system of Belgium. It's my design. So it's one of the governmental institutions that did not go down, but it's focused on there. With the best of the best, we actually made a product nobody thought of before. So edge compute and what we're delivering, the One Cloud, is really into a new market with a new product. The edge compute is something that just exists 2-3 years. People are talking about 2-3 years. And it's really started with the Deleuze project, where Walmart, where Tesco's were very interested in the idea of this, because we got regularly phone calls to say, how did you do, how, what? You Google it, you'll see that my former employer is still pronouncing this and making commercial, for example, for Dell, Lenovo, that this was really a reference case. The first time we made edge compute real happening. And this is the product actually we made and now we're developing. It's not just managing all those sites, but the applications on those sites, they make data, they produce data. Also this data we can use, analyze, and make everything out of it, even react on it. Because we use some technologies that gathers around, processes everything, and then with an artificial intelligence can scout algorithms and behaviors around this. So the system itself will see, oh, there is a hard drive that has a failure rate. Preactively, I'm going to launch a ticket at the vendor. This ticket will be in the CMDB, will be gathered, and will be followed up by the system itself. So nobody needs to do anything anymore. It's there, just click, the ticket is nearly done. The moment Lenovo or somebody is changing the disk, they say add to the system, and will come up, and it's done. So the customer itself has an edge system as a service, completely as a service. All the technologies used in there, and it's quite a lot, it's transparent.
Thank you. Questions on the remote side? Yes. Jürgen, and then Mark. Jürgen,
yeah, I had a question. I'm still a bit confused because I don't understand what your competitive advantage is. I mean, if you look into the offer, what's your competitive advantage? Because in my sense, you're more assembling stuff on back end, and you're more looking at partners to sell it on the front end. So what exactly, why would I not be able to do that myself, knowing that edge computing is, I mean, it's a technology that will be available from players that are building solutions on that. So I'm a bit confused. Sorry.
Well, you're talking about integrators. An integrator will provide you a solution with a server, a network, some switches, everything around this, and this is a quite costly environment because this is not really adapted to each other. It's not completely made from the base on. What we do is actually, we did virtualize everything, put it already together just to be configured, but that means that we really need to rework even the products itself. We use Scale, we use Fortinet, we use their engines, where we plug in immediately into this engine and make our framework completely around, so this will become actually a monolith, an ecosystem. We can change it. It doesn't need to be Fortinet. We can use F5 networks. We don't need to use Lenovo. We can use Dell. That's open, and that's why we left it open, because some customers say, yeah, we are only Dell. So we develop it on Dell, no problem. The whole system can be developed on, so it's plugins we use, but the main framework, that's really our development.
If I may add something. In one of the slides, we said 60% lower total cost of ownership. You cannot do that if you do it the same as today. So what we do, basically, is we use much more advanced techniques, which not everybody can easily master. They're complex, very complex. Artificial intelligence developers, you don't find them around the corner. What we do is we bring that knowledge in an easy way to the customers. That's how you have to see this.
A nice example is, for example, the iPhone. You have a camera, you have a radio, you have an MP3 player, you have everything in this device, but it's just one device. That's the whole thing. It needs to be usable as a service, because that's the main concern of those people. Managing 1,000 sites is enormously complex and has a lot of people working around this. Like we said, from the retailer had 70 people working on there. And now they're using 2-3 people just to manage the complete environment. Hardware, software, networks, everything.
Any other questions remote? Yes, Jeroen? Yeah, Mark, sorry. First, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm struggling a little bit as well with the business model. I understand the opportunity, right? It's almost intelligence in the distributed edge, but you're coming at this with a very capital-intensive business model, right? You're vertically integrating the stack. You're buying hardware. You're basically buying products from Splunk, from Fortinet, and others. So, you know, it strikes me this is a relatively low-margin business and a very sort of cash-intensive business, right? Why would you not want to partner with a Fujitsu or an IBM or even a Microsoft that have the scale and the ability to take this to market, and then you basically position the intelligence layer that sits on top?
We did actually. We partnered up with Lenovo, Scale Compute, Fortinet. We chose our partners because they're best fit for these environments. We can take other partners, but it will be more expensive. And we did actually partner up with these vendors. Why? Because they're also very interested in this concept. Now they can deliver a full solution. Well, before they didn't. I'll give you an example of Scale. Scale has the hypervisor that can do quite some amazing stuff, but there it stops. They don't have a network integration, they don't have the full security, they don't have full protection and the access management. We actually put our kind of own controller on it that takes grab of everything. We put our complete virtual environment on top, and from there on, it starts running autonomously. But that's why Scale is, for example, very interested also to sell this to their customers. Simple reason, now they have an added value to their product, which is quite substantial, and from the low budget, small featured vendor, now it becomes actually one of the most, the vendor with the most features, centralization, connections to the clouds. It can do whatever they want now. And this is a major step for them. And we're partnering up, we're starting to sell. Our first customer we are going to reach for that. We're negotiating there. For them, it's also a huge game changer.
Okay. Any others? Jeroen, you had a question? Or did I miss that?
Yeah, it was partially the same question Mark asked. And as I read the deck, I was a little bit confused because the retailer, which we cannot name, is still a client, right?
It's a reference, it's not a client. We developed the product over there. Then we started our own company. Today we partnered up with Econocom, and we could eventually go back to the customer selling the complete product now. Therefore, they would, instead of doing everything now themselves, it would solve quite some issues for them. So there is, even though this retailer is using the one box, they don't have the one cloud, not the dashboard, and not the artificial intelligence to manage the whole environment.
Because that was what I was struggling with also when I read the deck, is that to me it occurred that you have to deal with long lead times in the B2B segment, especially with the partners, and actually the retailer now is proving that. And how does that relate to the fast growth you're predicting?
Well, if I got your question right, they're faced with a few challenges. It's the reduction of cost, but due to this system, they reduced tremendously the amount of people working on there. By automation and virtualization, the technologies and integration and the automation of this complete system got much more efficient. So for them, it's actually a huge benefit because they calculated, while implementing this, they calculated for 1 or 2 years to have already a complete return on investment. of the complete environment.
I would also like to add one thing. If you see these numbers, we have taken as an assumption about 25 installations each quarter.
Yeah.
But because we have a revenue model where we are being paid per month, so the first installations still give us revenue 4 years later, because that's the type of contracts that we want to have. So that's why you see that the effort we put in 2022 still has revenue in 2024 and 2025. So that's how we come up with these numbers and why we think, although I think you're right, the sales cycle is not going to be very easy. Yeah? It's not like I go to an Apple store and I buy something and I'm home and I'm happy. It's going to take more work on our side. Absolutely.
Sales cycles are...
We know that, and that's why we are here.
That's really the reason. Sales cycles are a bit long because we're talking about a vast intervention into their environment, but once they see it, they approve it. And they see the real advantages compared to what everybody is doing today. And also by growing to the clouds, a lot of companies start to realize, oh, locally we still need that. And that's the perfect moment to integrate edge systems like ours.
Eric, you had a question?
Yeah, short question, if I may.
Question, maybe.
Thank you, Maarten and Stefan. I understand where you're coming from a technical perspective, what you want to do, very clear, and even some of the pain points you want to address from a customer perspective. But I haven't really, gotten an idea on the use cases you strive for. So you mentioned the case in retail, I get that. But especially with that landscape changing, and with the advent of 5G, public and private, etc., what would be the next use cases you would be aiming for beyond the technology? What cases would it enable in your head?
If I understand again correctly, retail was a nice example because it's a very complex environment with legacy. But what we are focused on is the automation, is everything which has SCADA, PLC, and all those traditional old systems, which are now more and more connected to the internet, which makes it quite dangerous because they're old legacy systems. If you use, for example, the one box, you just actually cut the line between the internet or your data center and the complete site, place the one box. It will scan the whole network, all the devices. It will rearrange it in logical sections, and then lock it down, make a whitelist, lock it down, and then basically what you could do is separate all the dangerous components out of each other. So everything which is communicating, the one box is scouting, what are you doing, who is doing what. And if there is really an infection, like the Trojan, Ducom, Stuxnet, or whatever, the typical SCADA infections, on behavioral scan, also with our artificial intelligence, on behavioral scan, we immediately kept something. PLC is used to send data files from 1K, a bit of temperature, that's it. Suddenly you see traveling 32 megabytes out of the net, capture this, lock it down, take the two components because you're sure they're infected. And you lock them out the whitelist, and you're secure complete. So, for example, these encryption malwares or the takeover of PLCs will not be possible anymore because we are controlling who is accessing and when and why.
If I may add something, it's not only about the physical components, it's also about the data. In any environment, you have quite a lot of data. You go to a supermarket, all the sales, the stock, everything, it's quite a lot of data. Now you can manage that in a very traditional way and say, okay, on the end of the day, I do my stock and I make sure that the next day I have enough items again to sell. But what is the impact of, like say, a catastrophe like we had in August, where there were floods in Liège and more than a bit? How does that impact basically how you have to do your stock management in your supermarkets over there? Today, I think that's all manual. What we can do with this technology is to use that data much more efficient and cross-link it with other events that you might have. And these models are provided with the software and can be extended according to the needs of the customers. And this is also very important. And if you do not jump on this wagon, basically, and you will not be able to manage in an efficient way your environment, well, somebody else will, and you will feel that.
All right.
Also,
Thank you
for
very-
example,
We need to finish it. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but we have a break and a lunch, so we will have more time to talk about it. Thank you very much.
But you
I'll hand
feel
over to Kurt.
the eagerness to learn, because they have not, to my opinion, not exactly seen the genius part in your solution. To mine, so there is something that like to learn on this one. So eager to learn a bit more, but moreover, we'll learn how is their opinion for the moment, because we're going to go for that one big question. Please.
Right. Who's interested after all those questions in pursuing the discussions with this team? Anybody here?
no.
Michelle? Anybody there?
We have one. We have one.
We will need some more explanation
Yeah,
here and there.
you see,
Okay.
okay, but that's you have a good one. You have a good interest over there.
Okay.
So, hey, you were the last startup. Thank you very much. You can leave the stage that way. Thank you very much. You can
Thank
take
you.
it with
Okay.
you.